Odious. Odious means like hate and disgust. It's a. It's almost. It's just a way to explain like usually, just the way something is, right? Like it had an odious, right? Like, it could also be used to describe a personality, right? You could say that somebody has an odious outview or somebody has an odious point of view towards something. The synonyms are abominable, obnoxious, repulsive, revolting, loathsome, detestable, offensive, hateable, repellent. Really anything that has to do with hate or something being really bad. Daring. So, daring means that you're willing or adventurous, right? Like, this doesn't have much to do with like other words. It's kind of just like you just want it, you're doing something and you're kind of risking it, right? Like you're not really being, you know, you're not being distracted by like other things. You're just kind of focused on, your will, what you want to do, and just adventuring and doing something new for the first time. So synonyms would probably be like impulsive, reckless, rash. It's also used usually in a way that's saying like his daring attitude broke his toe when he was skateboarding. Prowess, it means like you're just brave or skilled, right? A lot of people usually fall into the cast of saying that it's like dominance over somebody else, which it can be used, but it's usually just used in the way of saying that somebody's really, really good at something. You could say that somebody's prowess in his, what's it called? Somebody's prowess in his work of, you could say somebody's prowess in his field of study made him excel against the other professors in the college. So synonyms would be aptitude, expertise, excellence, genius, mastery, talent, stuff like that. Dauntlessness. To remind myself of this word, I think in the movie Dauntless, I don't know if you've watched it, but it helps me remember this really well. So dauntless basically means that you're like really daring and you're forward pushing, right? Like you kind of just do it. So, but dauntlessness, it means that you're unintimidated, right? Like you don't let fear get in the way of something that you have to do, and it's always used to describe a point of view or someone's personality, right, or their actions, and it's not really something that you just it's a very important word, like in value, right? Like because there's some like courageousness, right, compared to dauntlessness. Like dauntlessness means like they like fear doesn't deter them at all, but courageousness is like it's possible, right? Because it's used a lot more than dauntlessness, and dauntlessness is also like a bit more of an impactful word. So synonyms would probably be braveness, grit, heroism, valiance. So like I just said, courageous in the news now. No, courageous is up next, and so courageous is like dauntlessness, right? But this time it's not only just about fear; it's also about pain, right? So I just recently saw the first John Wick movie, and in the movie he was hit, right? He was bleeding, and he still started walking back to his home because he didn't care about the pain or fear of somebody else. So he was courageously walking back home with his dog, right? So that's what I used to remind myself of it. And usually you use this when you're just describing somebody's action. It's the same use as dauntlessness. So synonyms would probably be gutsy, valiant, assured, lion-hearted, unafraid, valorous. So it's very similar to dauntlessness, just this time it includes pain. So our next word is doughty. You spell it D-O-U-G-H-T-Y if you didn't know how to spell it. So what this means is it's you're persistent, right, and you're undeterred. So basically, like you kind of, if you've ever heard the quote, "If at first you don't succeed, try again," that's kind of what this means, right? Like if first you don't proceed, then you do it again until it works. So it's like Albert Einstein. He was doughty when he was trying to, or Thomas Edison. I don't remember, but he was when he was inventing the light bulb. I don't remember, but you get the point. So Synonyms would be brave, courageous, intrepid, valiant. So very similar to dauntlessness. Again, just this time it's like you're persistent. So yeah. Repugnant is the next word. Repugnant means that you have a very, very strong dislike towards someone or something. It's basically like obnoxious or hateful, right? So it's due to the cause of something, you're hateful towards it. To put that into more simple English, basically what it is like you have an extreme dislike to something because of the way it was caused or because of its cause in general. Repugnant is it's a word that you'd use to just describe something that you really don't like. So synonyms would be distasteful, revolting, incompatible, vile, adverse, just things like that. So appalling means like horror or disgust. This one is thrown around a lot, and so the exact definition for a lot of people isn't known because a lot of people use appalling, right? And nobody really uses it in the face of horror, but they usually use it in the face of disgust. Like, his appalling claims made me feel X way, X, Y, right? So it's usually now it's used in just the way of saying something's really bad. Like, you don't agree with it, it's disgusting, something like that. So synonyms would be alarming, awful, dreadful, frightful, horrific, daunting, terrible. The last word is abominable. It's a mouthful. Abominable. So what it means is it's basically just disgust, right? It's like appalling, just without the whole. It's hard to explain, but basically it's just like a change in definition. But in the end, the meaning is the same. Abominable is used very similar to appalling. It's just not as well known. So you can say his abominable opinion made me feel X, Y, right? Just like what I said before. Because it's the same word, basically. Just, like this time, it's a bit less than what appalling is, right? Because abominable is like, it's just awful, right? Or it's detestable. But it's not disgusting or horrid, right? It's just, it's bad, but it's not like terrible, like appalling. 3, 2, 1. So synonyms are atrocious, contemptible. 3, 2, 1. So synonyms are atrocious, heinous, odious, repulsive, revolting.